this nation. OSBC brings you the news. News across the country.
Good evening and welcome to the news across the country. Osun Assembly passes into law Osun Local Government Creation Bill 2022. Harming reshuffles leadership. Fashion news focuses on relationship between fashion and culture. Truck crushes 2 soldiers to death in Lagos. Osun State House of Assembly today passed into law State of Osun Local Government Areas Creation and Administration Amendment number 5 Bill 2022. The passage of the bill become imperative after the House has exercised the needed scrutiny on the said law. Parliamentary reporter Oluwatosin Oladogun completes the story.
Speaker of the State of Osun House Assembly, Honorable Timothy Owoye, has explained that the consideration of the bill is to enable local governments administration have democratically elected leadership to pilot their affairs through the presidential system of government. Honorable Owoye held that in view of these developments, Osun Independent Electoral Commission will be guided by the just passed law.
That has been the third reading of the bill. And so now on the system of local government in the state of Osun as back to presidential system, where member of executive will be different from member of the legislative body.
In December, the State of Osun Independent Electoral Commission Bill 2022 was similarly passed into law. Thereafter, a motion was moved by the majority leader of the House, Honorable Maruf Olarewaju, who encouraged his colleagues on the timely need to read the University of Ilesha Osun State Establishment Bill 2022 with a view to ensuring a law that is capable of upgrading Osun State College of Education, Ilesha, to university. And having seconded the motion by the lawmaker representing Iwo State constituency, Honorable Adebayo Usamat, the bill sailed through the first reading.
The purpose of the bill is to establish and regulate the University of Ilesha Osun State as a citadel of learning and to make it attain international standards.
In the course of the plenary, Chairman House Committee on Public Accounts, Honorable Benga Ogunkomi, presented the report of the committee set up to unravel financial operation of the College of Education, Ilaonagon. According to the Public Accounts Committee Chairman, Honorable Benga Ogunkomi, recommended the need for the College of Education, Ilaonagon, to always carry Auditor General abreast of our accounts. The House thereafter adopted the committee reports. Oluwatosin Oladogun, OSBC News.
A coalition of civil society for good governance and umbrella body to about 20 advocacy groups today peacefully protested to the Independent National Electoral Commission asking for the extension of continuous voters registration. The group said INEC should leverage on citizens' willingness to register ahead of the 2023 general election, stating that those who intend to register have been coming out in large numbers, but there are inadequate manpower and equipment to attend to them, a development they said has led to long queues. Convener of the coalition, Professor Theophilus Ndubiako, in a letter to the national chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakub, which was received on his behalf at the INEC headquarters by the Assistant Director of Security, Mrs. Insurance Babangida, insisted that large numbers of people spread across 6 geopolitical zones of the country were yet to register. He said the quest to register has turned so bad that bribe for registration is being witnessed in certain areas of the country. Professor Ndubiako acknowledged that the deadline for registration had been previously extended many times, but appealed that the umpire should consider extension so as not to disenfranchise anyone. They urged INEC to address lapses of human resources and deploy more machines if the exercise is extended from Sunday 31st July for some weeks. Reacting, the Independent National Electoral Commission, speaking through Mrs. Endurance Babangida, said the request will be looked into. Meanwhile, the Katsina State Resident Electoral Commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Alhaji Jubril Zariwa, has blamed the initial low number of registered voters in Katsina State on the suspension of telecommunication services in 17 local government areas due to insecurity. Alhaji Zariwa made the claim while addressing journalists in the state at the INEC office. The shutdown of the telecommunication services said is part of moves by security operatives to clamp down on bandits in the state following the incessant attacks recorded in the area. He noted that as a result of the suspension of telecommunication services in the 17 local government areas, over half of the state population could not access the continued voters registration exercise. In the meantime, the Muslim Media Watch Group of Nigeria has called on Muslims irrespective of gender to take advantage of the ongoing voters registration exercise being conducted by the Independent National Electoral Commission to register, as the opportunity to do so will end by Sunday 31st. In a press statement today by the National Coordinator and National Secretary of the group, Malam Ibrahim Abdullahi and Dr. Nasiru Balogun, the group stressed the importance of the exercise, which it said also include the opportunity for voters in the forthcoming general election to change their polling units as a result of movements of people from where they domiciled before to a new polling zones. The group recalled the opportunities INEC had given to impending voters to register or change their polling units several times, adding that those who failed to register between now and Sunday might not be opportuned to vote in February. In March next year, general elections scheduled by the electoral body. The group finally called on all registrants to keep their voters card properly, otherwise whoever registered but unable to produce his voters card will not be allowed to vote or stay in the polling zones. Similarly, the Muslim Media Watch Group of Nigeria has congratulated the Muslims all over the world on the occasion of the end of Islamic calendar year 1443 AH, which comes up tomorrow. Which comes up today. In its message, the group charged all Muslims to enter the new Islamic calendar year 1444 AH with piety, obedience to Allah's commandments, and good deeds. The Islamic body maintained that without Almighty Allah's benevolence, many would not have witnessed the new year, and that the best way to show appreciation to the Creator is to resolve to do all that Allah has commanded true believers to do, and avoidance to all sins, no matter how little. The group also emphasized the need for fervent prayers, especially now that the country is witnessing unprecedented insecurity, economic difficulty, unemployment, and unbridled corruption, among others, so that the nation could witness a positive turnaround soonest for the betterment of the Nigerian society at large. The federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to the fight against money laundering and terrorism financing. The Minister of Interior, Mr. Rauf Aregbesola, made this known today in Abuja at the inauguration of a 10-member interministerial committee set up to implement the adoption and implementation of the assigned roles to the ministry. This, is said, is based on the Financial Action Task Force implementation roadmap adopted by the federal government. Mr. Aregbesola added that a great deal of the security challenges facing the country in recent time could be attributed to the activities of economic saboteurs who indulged in illegal financial dealings to the detriment of the country. He urged the committee to work assiduously to deliver on the terms of reference assigned to them to enable the country achieve the standards that will improve its rating by FATF and International Cooperation Review Group. It will be recalled that the 10-member committee, which is headed by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Dr. Shuaib Bekure, has other members drawn from agencies under the supervision of the Ministry. Report has it that the agencies involved are the Nigerian Immigration Service, Nigerian Correctional Service, as well as Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. The committee is expected to report to the Minister every 2 weeks on progress assessment. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has ordered the final forfeiture of a cash sum of 120 million naira owed by Mrs. Roslyn Ebuha, a primary school teacher with Ozala Primary School, Abagana, Anambra State, and her accomplices to the federal government. A statement by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission (ICPC) said the money was traced to her account and that of her accomplices. The statement posted by ICPC on its website said the forfeited money, as well as cars, form part of the 540 million naira proceeds of crime traced to Mrs. Ebuha and her accomplices. It explained that Mrs. Ebuha was on a monthly salary of 76,000 naira as at the time of her arrest in 2020 by ICPC, had the forfeited cash stashed in her bank account with a bank. Upon further investigations by ICPC, her alleged complicity in money laundering is said to have been revealed, thereby prompting the Commission to place a post-note debit on the account. The post-note debt was lifted by Mrs. Ebuha and her accomplices when they purportedly secured a court order from a federal high court in Abuja. She and her accomplices later moved the money into multiple bank accounts owned by bureau de change operators and private individuals. A magistrate court in Kano State today ordered that a 20-year-old tailor, Abubakar Sani, be given 12 strokes of the cane for being in possession of one bottle of codeine syrup. Mr. Sani, who lives at Fage Quarters, Kano, was convicted for constituting public nuisance and being in possession of codeine syrup. Magistrate Farouk Ibrahim Umar also sentenced Mr. Sani to 2 months imprisonment without option of fine. Earlier, the prosecution counsel, Aminu Dago, informed the court that the convicts committed the offense on June 16 at Fage Quarters, Kano. Mr. Dangogo said that the offense contravened the provisions of sections 183 and 391A of the Penal Code. This is the news across the country, coming to you from Osun State Broadcasting Corporation, Ileawiye Okebale Shubu, Voice of the West. Now, Ahmed News Message. It is only when everyone works hard that the nation can record a sustainable growth. Contribute your quota. Today's fashion news focuses on the relationship between fashion and culture. How culture influences the way we dress. OSBC fashion news reporter Olamide Gade sought the opinions of people on how culture affects the fashion lifestyle. I report.
Fashion is a method of self-expression. It allows people to both break away from and feel connected to their culture. It's also a form of self-reflection, allowing people to question social norms. Clothing habits tend to differ from place to place, town to town, religion and tribes, as every culture has unique clothing styles attributed to it. Apparel can also reflect the beliefs, customs, values, morals, economics, arts, and technology of individuals and groups of people. Fashion is the ultimate way used to express self through the garments and accessories. Culture is at the core of the fashion industry, and elements like patterns, fabrics, and garments are allies to represent culture in several different ways. Clothing was created in its origins as a way to protect the body, but over time it became much more than that. It became a tool for expressing personality and a social symbol. However, nowadays the society values the things that are in the latest fashion trends, commonly influenced by popular culture as a reflection of social factors and cultural forces. Fashion news reporter went around to ask the difference between fashion and culture. Mr. Adebowale Olawale, Mrs. Afusat Ojetundun, Ms. Deborah Adewuyi all said fashion and culture are a bit related, but it all depends on how it is used at a particular time. Mr. Adebowale Olawale contended that there is a lot related between culture and fashion, as the things that were used in the olden days are still in vogue. Furthermore, he advised both young and old to cultivate the habit of preserving our culture.
Currently in the world, we have so many things that have actually that have a relationship together, like culture and fashion. The two of them go pari passu. The way we dress, the way we eat, the way we greet people, these are part of the culture of every community. And when we want to talk about fashion, you look at the way people dress particularly, and majorly Yoruba culture, there are ways we dress, there are ways we eat, and there are ways we do some other things in our community. So there are some fashion nowadays that have actually influenced our culture. Particularly, let's talk about dressing. People have actually, gone back into the dressing of the hoodie, whereby they wear half shoe. Half shoe was very common then. It was part of our culture. Then some years ago, it was not actually in vogue, but now people have actually cultivated the habit of wearing half shoes again. But the bottom line is just that we have to protect our culture, we have to preserve it, and ensure that the children of ours get used to our culture, so that wherever they go, they will actually respect our culture. Because when you want to talk about the best culture in the world, you talk about Yoruba culture, and this has to be passed on to the incoming generation, so that the culture and the particular ones that are very good will be preserved by our children.
While speaking, Mrs. A fashion style has a lot of effect on the body and culture at large. She compelled men and women not to give way for modernization to eradicate our culture.
Oge ṣíṣe ayé àtijọ́ dára púpọ̀ torí pé láyé àtijọ́ kò sí oge tó fẹ́ ṣe tó fẹ́ rìn ní òwò. O gbúdọ̀ bo ara rẹ, gbogbo oge rẹ tó fẹ́ ṣe o gbúdọ̀ fi òwò rẹ lẹ̀.
Ms. Deborah Adewi explained that the Nigerian culture is now damaged as a result of westernization. She urged youths to dress in a moderate way.
When we talk about our nowadays culture, has been somehow to our olden days culture. However, the Nigerian dress culture has been faced with a lot of damages, challenges, and particularly from the effect of westernization and globalization. Our people sometimes tend to fear from our indigenous cultural mode of dressing. We have to be dressing in a moderate way, not that we should open our whole body to the world for them to know that this girl is beautiful.
Olamide Gade, OSBC News.
The Nigerian Army today announced the reshuffling of its leadership by appointing new general commanders, corps commanders, commandants of training institutions, brigades commanders, and commanding officers, among others, according to a statement by the Defense Headquarters signed by the Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyewa Nwachukwu. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yaya, approved the posting and appointment of some senior officers in order to tackle the spate of security breaches rocking the country. It will be recalled that suspected terrorists had yesterday attacked a military checkpoint at Zuma Rock around the Niger-Abuja border and Niger-Abuja border, an incident that followed the attack on the Presidential Guards Brigade last Sunday as Wari Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory by suspected terrorists. Deto has risen to 10 a bandit attack in Pinau Village, Wase local government area of Plateau State. Residents of the area, Mwale Pinau, said 4 more bodies were found in the bush in addition to 6 bodies earlier recovered on the day of the attack. He added that the deceased has since been buried. Troops were said to have been deployed in the area to restore law and order. The resident of the community had on Friday last week raised alarm about withdrawal of the security personnel, a development that forced hundreds of people to flee their homes. Ubale, while confirming the death toll, however, said soldiers had been deployed in the community to provide security for the area. The meantime, 2 soldiers and a civilian have been killed in an accident at the Obadeye area of Lagos. The deceased were said to have been inside a salon car when a truck driving against traffic collided with a vehicle. One other male adult who was in the vehicle was said to have sustained injuries and rushed to the hospital by emergency responders after administering first aid. According to the Permanent Secretary, Lagos State's Emergency Management Agency, the deceased have been bagged and awaiting pickup by the military and the State Environmental Health Management Unit. Said the vehicle had been recovered from the road to restore free flow of traffic, and that the truck was handed over to the Miriam police station. And now to sport. The 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, England, has kicked off with Nigerian among the participating countries. Adeyemi Aboderin has more on sports updates.
Fresh from their inspiring performance at the just concluded World Athletics Championship in Eugene, Oregon, USA, The duo of Toby Amusan and Esebrumi are in the Team Nigeria's camp in Birmingham, England for the 2022 Commonwealth Games. Both athletes breezed into the Commonwealth Games village on Thursday to a rousing welcome by officials and athletes alike. Amusan, the world record holder and recently crowned world champion in the 100 meters hurdles and long jumper, Esebrumi are favorite to clinch gold in their different events as they did at Gold Coast, Australia in 2018. The opening ceremony of the 2022 Commonwealth Games was held yesterday with 94 athletes representing the country in 9 events, including athletics, boxing, judo, para-athletics, para-powerlifting, para-table tennis, weightlifting, and wrestling. Meanwhile, top women wrestler and silver medalist at the Tokyo Olympic Games, Blessing Oborodudu, and leading men powerlifter Nnamdi Innocent have been selected as Team Nigeria captains at the 2022 Commonwealth Games. In the meantime, Taiwo Mati defeated Gamal Marwan of Egypt 4-1 to win the Under-19 boys title at the 2022 International Table Tennis Federation African Youth Championship in Tunisia. The Ondo-born teenager defeated the Egyptian opponent in a one-sided final. Earlier, Taiwo Mati, alongside Samuel Boboye, had claimed gold in an all-Nigerian under-17 boys doubles final. The duo picked up a 3-2 win over Moise Adegoke and Kuti Matthew, who were able to secure the silver medal in the event. The Nigerian contingent finished the campaign with 6 medals comprising of 3 gold, 2 silver, and a bronze medals. Newly crowned Nigeria Professional Football League champions, Rivers United will face Ghanaian Premier League champions Ashanti Kotoko in an international friendly in preparations for a good outing in the 2022-2023 CAF Champions League. The two champions will come face-to-face in Istanbul, Turkey, in a cup game tagged City's Gate Champions Cup. The game will hold on August 24, barely a month to the start of the 2022-2023 Nigeria Professional Football League season. Barcelona and Sevilla have reached an agreement for the transfer of Jules Koundé. He is known for being a fast defender, quick to intercept and good on the ball. The French centre-back can also play as a full-back and difficult to beat on one-on-one. He is expected to complete his medicals and the signing of contract. A new twist has emerged in the transfer of Super Eagles striker Cyril Kolawole Dizas to newly promoted Italian Serie A club Cremonese, as FC Copenhagen is set to hijack the deal. The Nigerian could move to the Danish Super League side after it was spotted in Tivoli, Copenhagen, having a meeting with FC Copenhagen head coach Jez Torup and sport director of the club. Sport Update returns tomorrow. My name is Adeyemi Aboderi.
And to end the news across the country, here again at the major point. Osun State House of Assembly today passed into law State of Osun Local Government Areas Creation and Administration Amendment Number 5 Bill 2022. The passage of the bill become imperative after the House has exercised the needed scrutiny on the said law. The Nigerian Army today announced the reshuffling of its leadership by appointing new general commanders, corps commanders, commandants of training institutions, brigade commanders, and commanding officers, amongst others. Fashion news today focused on relationship between fashion and culture and how it was being influenced by the way we dress. 2 soldiers and civilians have been killed in an accident at Obade area of Lagos. The deceased were said to have been inside a salon car when a truck driving against traffic collided with that vehicle. And that was the news across the country. Edited by Olushola Egbodofo. For more about us, can visit www.osbcng.org. Thanks for listening. Good evening.